So first and foremost, Charles, I know you're going through a busy time in your life right now, so I appreciate you blocking a bit
Cheers,
of
man.
that time for me in the show. So thanks, man. Welcome.
Thanks for inviting me here, man. That's awesome.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into it. So
Sick.
take me through kind of your transition period, leaving high school to kind of where we are now, and then we can go back through it
Okay.
more specifically.
I'll try and be brief. So
Mhm.
after high school, I was supposed to go to the Royal Military College. Went through basic training, and sort of near the end was like, yeah, fuck this.
Yeah.
Not where I wanted to be. So I went to University of King's College in Nova Scotia. Did my bachelor's there. Went to Japan for a year on the JET program. Spent a year in Hokkaido, their northernmost island. Studied Aiki Jiu-Jitsu there. Came home. Went back to school. Did my master's. Went to China. 3.5 years there. Came back. Became a medic.
Mhm.
Got a job. Sudbury. Came up here. Had a family. Now it's been. It would have if we were still here in October. If we're still here in October this year, it'll be 10 years.
Oh wow.
Since we moved. No, sorry. No, 9 years. 9 years since we moved up here. And yeah, and now I'm a mental health policy analyst with DND, and moving to Halifax.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sick. That was a good. Man, that was a good summary. So let's back up. What did you know what you wanted to do when you were in like grade 12, grade 13, like timing? No?
No idea whatsoever.
Political science, right?
Yeah, I did poli-sci. That was just I was interested in that stuff. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have an idea of what that was gonna be, or there was
Yeah.
no. It was more that was where my inclination was. Yeah, it was just something I fell into. I mean, and the school I went to, King's College, had a really cool like foundation year, great books program. That
Oh,
was kind of
sick.
what drew me in.
Yeah.
It was like a small college, like very tight knit, lots of good discussion,
Yeah.
coupled with drinking, and
Hell yeah.
yeah, no, it was good. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Did you you said you left after that to
Yeah.
move to Japan
Yeah.
and then came back before doing your masters?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what made you want to move there, like to Japan? Because you lived there for what?
I did a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it had been longer, but it
Yeah.
was a year. Yeah, I was involved in jiu-jitsu since I was pretty young, and that kind of led to an interest in Japanese martial arts and culture. My buddies and I were like sort of anime nerds in high school.
Right. Yeah.
So it was a natural thing. I was interested in sort of Zen and Japanese philosophy and East Asian philosophy more generally. So it was just like I finished university and knew I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. Like
Right, like
not
everybody.
like no idea.
Yeah.
And I also was of the belief that I didn't have enough life experience and understanding to even like start figuring that out.
Right.
So for me, finishing university, it was like step one is just like go out there, have some experience. They're gonna let you know who you are, what you want to do, what you're made of, and that was kind of the first step. Just go somewhere totally different,
Nice.
follow us into, and just take it from there.
Why'd you decide to go through the JET program? Like, what is that? That is
Yeah. So that's like it's a Japanese Ministry of Education program.
Oh, cool.
It is. I call it it's the fanciest way to get to Japan if you want to go do the English teaching thing. They fly you over there. It's all through the government. They put you in high schools. I usually get a free apartment. Some of my colleagues got free cars, like they can keep, to use.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it was a sweet program. They give you Japanese language teaching, and
That's wild,
it's a good network. It's good times. It's like a nice. It was a really nice transition post university, like just be hanging out, but also learning and working.
Yeah, but
and
working still.
And back then the money wasn't terrible.
No.
Now, well, Japan's had no inflation, so
Right.
the money they pay you there is the same as what they paid you in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it works well. It works okay there,
Yeah.
but you come back, it doesn't transfer well.
No, I found that a lot lately with doing a bunch of research about that and moving to and from and looking at how it goes. There's like you'll have a lot of money in that area, at least with the non, like not with China, not with Japan, but like Thailand, Vietnam, they'll pay you well for those places, but that, like you said, it wouldn't transfer over. So
Yeah, exactly.
but there's when it comes to that year that you spent, what was something specifically, because I want to ask this about China as well, because I know you spent more time there and in that area, but I want to know in Japan and stuff like that, what was it like? What's a common misconception you think that people have about Japan, Like maybe that you've seen.
I don't even know what people's misconceptions about Japan are. Like I think for the most part, they're people's sense of pretty bang on.
We could generalize
Yeah.
it more and just go with Asia.
Okay, well, that becomes about
Yeah.
Japan versus China,
China,
and stuff,
yeah.
because like the two are just talk about the two different
Yeah.
countries. Like Japan, they're very very friendly, but they'll never let you in.
Right.
Like it's they'll be so nice to you, but there's this barrier the longer you stay that you can't get by, and you just have to accept that if you want to stay there.
Does it feel like a facade almost? Is like it's hard to
No, 'cause
crack or
it's that they just I'd say culturally just can't accept the fact that they could have like a genuine relationship with a foreigner. It's a very very
interesting? It's interesting.
like explicitly ethnocentric society,
Right.
And they have no qualms about that. Like
Yeah.
we are Japanese, we are better than you. You'll never understand us.
Yeah.
And like I give them some credit because they've got something figured out. That like you've never seen such clean washrooms. You've
Nope.
never seen such low crime and they do things well. They have their own challenges like anywhere, but
Yeah.
they do things really well.
It's how can it's like it's Tokyo specifically is currently the most populated city in the world, but also the safest and cleanest,
Yeah.
which is a very very tough thing to do, right?
Yeah.
It's like however many
Yeah.
tens of millions live there. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're special. That's the only way I could put it. There's something about their culture and their basic psychology
Yeah.
that's so different. And again, there's challenges, but
Yeah.
they've figured something out about how to be human and how to be a society.
Interesting.
That's really
They're living in the future.
Yeah, you know what, man? That's the way I see that they're the leading edge of I mean, doesn't mean we're all going to end up exactly the same, but
No.
I think that they're
Good
they're
tone.
leading the way for
Yeah.
for what we could all aspire to.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm a closet nippo supremacist.
Fair.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go, man. So, looking on that, what made you kind of make the jump from there to then to China? Like, what was the jump around? What was the timeline like in between that?
So I came back from Japan in 2007.
Yeah.
I moved to Halifax because I'd been to school there. That's where I wanted to live ultimately.
Halifax?
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful
All my
place.
friends lived there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I came from Toronto. Toronto's a terrible place. I never want to live there. Halifax is great. I came back. Shortly after I got there, I smashed my heel, fell off a cliff. Needed like reconstructive surgery. I've got like nine screws, 3 pins, and a plate in my foot to this day.
Wow.
I had to go home because I couldn't walk. Couldn't even really use a wheelchair for a little while.
Bro.
So I just recovered. It took about 7-8 months, and then went back to my job in Halifax.
Yeah.
And then wasn't really digging. I was working for Scotiabank. They were putting the pressure hard on us to sell. Like you hear about now, like you're supposed to be serving, but it's like hard sales.
It's tough to do both.
Yeah, exactly. And then, ran into an old prof and said, hey, man, like, I want to do my master's, and can you help me out?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I think you should be in. So he helped me. I didn't have the marks for it, but he kind of he finagled me in. And
Interesting.
yeah, and that's kind of, that leads into China. So in Halifax, I started off boxing. Then the boxing gym closed because it was mismanaged, and I think the building was condemned. Yeah. And so I ended up falling with this Kung Fu and Tai Chi guy, Master Yao Sun Tong, who was like kind of like Mr. Miyagi type guy. And so I was training with him in Halifax for a number of years, and then came back, trained with him some more. So I was getting into the Chinese stuff.
Yeah.
He was teaching us Chinese culture, learning a little Chinese. Then my master's, I just focused on China because I saw at that time, like, this was like 15 years ago, we were starting to be like, okay, China's going to rise, it's going to pose a challenge, and I figured, you know what, there's worse things that I could do than just learning Chinese and like really focusing on them, because they're going to be a challenge for us. So I really focused on that, and then when I was done, it was like, everybody wanted me to go do a PhD or go work for the government. I said, no, man, this book smart stuff is good, but I have to go there and see what's going on. I have to go. So I went there and got a job and spent 3.5 years there, and
you just showed up there and then you got a job, or
no, I just applied
Nice. Same idea.
Even with a bachelor's, with a master's, it was even easier. Like so I got a job with the university, North China Electric Power University.
Oh, cool.
I taught in their national education department, so I was teaching kids who were going to do half the degree in China, then half overseas. So I was kind of like getting them ready for our style of education.
Western. Yeah.
And yeah, it was super fun. I got to write my own curriculum. Like I told them I want to teach this course, this course, and this course, and as long as it wasn't politically sensitive, it was okay.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
And I push the boundaries a lot. I wouldn't do it now.
In terms of biases.
In terms of things that I wasn't supposed to be teaching them, and
Okay.
politically.
Do you have an example?
Yeah, like I used to, one of my classes, I used to do like a oral exam at the end, and I'd ask them questions like, so what does freedom mean to you?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And or I did like a whole philosophy class talking about Taiwan as part of China, and they are like, no, Taiwan is part. I'm like, no. Does the Chinese government actually have control of the island? No, that's right. What do you guys mean? They're like, well, it's part of. I'm like, okay, it's part of the Chinese people. It's part of the Chinese culture. Yeah, but that's not what we mean. We know that it's part of China, but it's not politically under their control. And they were like, oh,
it's an interest. Yeah, it's like trying to get a greater understanding for both sides. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I could see how that'd be a bit yeah, now that wouldn't fly.
No.
As much.
No.
Now I'd be like, no, dude, this is how it is.
No. Well,
Don't try to, even if you're not necessarily even, I'd say in that regard, with that example, trying to change their minds.
No.
It's just trying to like, hey, I need you to like, let's find a common understanding. It's like, I want to
That's
know
it.
what you guys are thinking of.
That's it.
And this is what we see.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it, right?
Yeah. When you're in those, so you spent a lot of time over there. Did you, how did you do any exploring around, or was it just in China? Like, where'd you go? You went to Mongolia, I know that.
Yeah, I did Mongolia. Yeah.
What was that like for people who might not know?
Mongolia was a trip, man.
Yeah?
Mongolia was so. I was living in Beijing. Beijing is beyond busy. Like just the constant pressure of noise and people, and so I desperately wanted to go to where there was no people. Mongolia is the least populated country in the world. So
Really?
Yeah.
Like per capita or something?
Yeah, and pretty much everybody lives in Ulaanbaatar, which
Makes
is the
sense.
capital.
Yeah, capital. Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah, getting like Mongolia. Where do I even begin? Like getting across the border was a challenge with my ex. She was Chinese, so me it was easy, but her we had to wait a few days for the visa. I still remember the train. I think we crossed the border, and then we had to take a train to Ulaanbaatar. But we got there, and I don't even know how to describe it. Like, there's no such thing as a lineup. Everybody's just kind of like crushing in, and it's all just kind of who's bigger, who can shove more. And like everybody was piled into this train station to buy tickets. We got there the night before, or the day before, had to sleep there overnight, and then everybody's rushing in, and there's a lineup outside, and the friggin' security guard had a cattle prod, and he used it, like people, because they don't care. Like the whole notion of lining up and waiting your turn has not reached Mongolia culturally.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so, because they're all used to just being out on their own.
Yeah,
on
first come, first serve.
And well, it's just you live on the grasslands.
Yeah.
You see nobody. You know, these ideas of people living together and how we behave when we do that hadn't really happened there.
Right.
So yeah, we had to we were having to fight our way in. Like I'm a Canadian, right? Canadians are the worst in these places because you're like, oh, sorry,
yeah, you're
sorry, and
they
you have to
don't
learn
care.
to be like, yo.
Yeah.
And fortunately, the security guard was like, yo, these guys are never gonna get their tickets if we don't do something. So he brought us up to the front of the line, and
there you
it
go.
was good. It was good.
Bless his soul.
Yeah, and then Ulaanbaatar is I've never been to one of these places, but I'm sure there's other places in the world like it. But you get the sense the moment you're out of the station, like if you're not keeping your wits about you, someone's gonna roll you.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you go,
Yeah.
people are mean mugging you. My ex, I think she had 3 robbery attempts, and it was literally like just they just walk up, broad daylight, start opening her purse. And they didn't realize I was with her, so they figured, oh, she's small, like, what's she gonna do? And then I was like, hey,
you're like,
and then they're like, okay, try somebody else, and that was just, that. Police wouldn't do anything.
No, of course not.
Just, I mean, that's wealth inequality, though, right? You got tons of people, herders. Their herds die to stop their families from starving. They come to Ulaanbaatar to look for work. And then they have foreigners coming on the mining projects with tons of cash, and
take it from.
What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it was a beautiful place. You go out of the city, and you can literally, like Ulaanbaatar, you can walk out of it and just walk and go camping. Like just walk. There's just grass everywhere with some trees, and you just walk out of the city and you just walk and go. All right, cool.
This is where we rest.
This is where we are. And
Wow.
yeah. So we did that, and yeah, it was a good time.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have like a favorite experience or like a favorite day that took place during that those 3.5 years you spent in like China and moving around China?
Favorite? I don't know.
Because you went to Asia twice, right?
Yeah.
Like yes, you went
Yeah,
to Japan,
Japan.
came back, and
Yeah.
then went to China
Yeah.
for much longer. Yeah. From that second trip out.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of good times in China. I had a lot of crazy times. Definitely some interesting experiences. Trying to think about. Oh, geez, that's a tough one though. Like my favorite time.
Or it could be most memorable if you want to.
Well, I'd say the best. Like, if you want to talk about my most memorable time, it's So my job was in Beijing,
Mhm.
and I was there for 3 years. But I had like 5 months vacation a year because it was university.
Stop.
Paid, so yeah, it was pretty
Stop.
sweet. Yeah, so I just what I do. That's how I went to Mongolia, but most of the time I go south to Yunnan, which is the province that kind of borders Vietnam and Laos and all
Yep.
that. And I go to a town called Dali, which is where I met my ex. Yeah, it's like anybody that had any white kid who grew up with like Asia fantasy of like kung fu martial arts.
Yeah.
Dali is your
That's the spot,
it's
eh?
your wet dream, man. Like it's this walled city with tiled roof stone buildings with
Jeez.
like a canal running through them and like people wearing
Oh yeah.
your rice picking hats and traditional clothing. It's in the middle. There's like a river. No, there's a lake, and then mountains all around.
Amazing.
And it's perpetual spring. Like the
Yeah.
winter is like plus 20 in the daytime.
Yeah.
Beautiful women, great coffee, great wine. Weed just grew everywhere. It was a wild plant.
Yeah.
So I just I
It
went
is a
to-
weed.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And it's part of the culture.
Yeah.
So I just go down there and hang
That's
out there on
awesome.
my vacations,
Yeah.
and then I eventually lived there at the end. That was kind of
Nice.
the last place I lived there.
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
it was-
really cool. Did you have when it came to like the process at the beginning of moving, like selecting the school and stuff like
Yeah.
that? How difficult was it? Like, did you like what was the visa process like to work? Or is
Oh,
it
it
just
was-
apply?
It was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Like getting the job, I looked online for some places and threw out some resumes and
Where'd you look?
there's just
Where'd you-
I forget. There's all sorts of like English teaching job boards. out
Yeah,
there.
some are hit and miss though.
Yeah.
Like, cause I think I was telling you like in passing one time in the change room, I was like that. I had a buddy who taught in China for 5 years. Same idea, where he's like sent it, but then there are others that I'll see that I'm like, "Ooh, I don't really trust.
Yeah.
Like my buddy did one where he's like, I wouldn't really
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had a
Yeah.
few different people with different ones, so that's
Yeah.
why I ask.
I don't remember. I mean, this was 15 years ago. More than, yeah,
Makes
15,
sense.
16 years ago. But I remember I got an offer from one that was like
Mm-hmm.
a private school, and they were like super like
Pushy.
they were pushing it like, okay, let's go, and that made my spidey
Weird
sense
vibes.
tingle because I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys are really happy to have me, but a little too happy, and then so
Yeah.
I kind of pushed them to the side, and then this university came back, and
Nice.
they were good.
Yeah.
They were chill. It was a pretty good situation I was in.
right on.
Yeah.
Looking back a bit, what do you think that the Asian cultures do that Western cultures don't, that you think we can kind of adopt from them, and then vice versa?
Yeah. I'll say two things.
Yeah, please.
They have a really strong sense of community.
Mm.
And now I don't want like China's a special case. China's a bit damaged because of the history of the Cultural Revolution, all
Yeah,
that.
it's a bit aggressive.
But I'm
yeah.
saying like as a whole, Japan, non-PRC Chinese,
Yeah, like the-
Koreans, like it's very,
Yeah.
it's
the
a
more
very
tight knit Chinese communities.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
the
or
ones
the smaller
that
ones.
didn't go through the Cultural
Right,
Revolution because
okay.
that kind of
Yeah.
if you know the history of it, that really disrupted family ties. It was so awful
Yeah, it was
about
rough.
it.
Yeah.
Kids denouncing parents and all that. So in China it's a bit different, but I'd say generally
Rough
speaking,
history.
they're very very family oriented. They're very community oriented. They're like our sense of individuality is great in some ways, but it's also like it also limits us. Like we're not islands,
Mm-hmm.
and they recognize that we rely on each other, and that if the family's good, we're good, and our
Right.
our identity is defined by the family and the community. And the other thing too is their traditional culture and you see this really in Japan. The Japanese,
Yeah.
the idea of the body and the relationship to the body and the relationship between the mind and the body it's very different, and I think more than anything that's something we could learn here. And I don't even know how to articulate it. Like it's you spend enough time there, you see it, you get a feel for it, and it becomes really striking. Like the level of, and this is more traditionally, like the younger generations may be losing it in Japan, but the older generation, like being able to sit in seiza, like fold your legs underneath you, and like the awareness of posture and like how you do things, like there's a level of connection with their body and understanding of it that I think we're a little
lacking. Lacking for sure. Jeez, that's really cool. I never would have thought that be like the way their mind, body, and spirit kind of connects is something we can. Do you find because of that they take care of themselves better, like fitness, like or at least health wise, whatever that might be?
Well, again, I have to separate. China's very different from Japan. I'll focus on Japan on this.
I think Japan's a good comparable.
What always struck me about the Japanese is you'd see guys in their 70s and 80s and just still very slim, good skin, good posture. And that's partly the awareness, I think, and it's partly just cultural. Like, going to hot baths. They're like onsen, like $3, $5 public baths, mineral water. It's amazing. That's good for you. The diet, the fish. I mean, and this is a culture that's like, they're hard drinkers, like hard drinkers. And yet they still have really good longevity, just really good like appearance. Like I don't know how else to describe it. Like you don't see the overweight, you don't see the dull skin we get here. It's very smooth skin, very healthy, vibrant.
As soon as you said that to me is like, oh, I know what you're talking about now. It's like those old masters and like in these old karate movies that you'll see that are like 99 years old, and you're like, they look 60. It's weird. With the tight skin, not the wrinkly, leathered out, been around cigarettes all the time type. Oof. What did you do your thesis on?
My master's thesis was on Chinese national oil companies, and so at the time, the Chinese government was trying to say, oh, these are just businesses. They're just trying to make money, so they're not politically relevant. And my thesis was looking at their ownership structures and their decision making and saying that these are not business decisions. These are tools of the Chinese government pretending to be businesses looking to make money, but they're not. They're run by senior Communist Party officials. Their activities only make sense within the matrix of geopolitics. They don't make sense from a business perspective. So that was kind of
right on. Have you done any exploring around Europe at all? Yeah. Whereabouts?
So we used to actually go to France a fair bit when I was younger. I've done like the classic U-Rail thing. When I was in China and Japan, I'd go travel around, like, on my vacations. And
the 5-month thing is 5 months paid vacation.
It was good, and I worked like 16 hours a week, man.
Is that was it just like 4 days a week, or is it just like a couple hours every day?
2-3 hours a day.
That makes sense. Nice. That's not too bad.
It's hard to come back, but you can't stay there forever. Doesn't look good.
No.
Doesn't go well.
No. People don't trust you anymore.
You lose your mind.
Yeah.
You become a son of a bitch. Like,
that different?
Yeah, it's like your home country and your home community, they keep you in check. You know, like there's norms and expectations. You go over, spend too much time there. There's especially as a guy, there's a fetishization of Westerners. So women are always sort of easily available, which sort of reduces your desire to commit or invest in anybody. There's this kind of very easy lifestyle you fall into of easy money, easy drinking, easy women. And 10 years go by and man, it doesn't look good. It just doesn't. It's not like I
it compounds poorly for sure.
We need our home societies to keep our minds together. Otherwise, we become total narcissists and self-indulgent.
Interesting.
And just useless.
Interesting. So so it seems like the decision was at the beginning, go there because you need that experience, like just of life in general. How if I'm writing my thesis on this culture, I need to understand it. Right. So that's really cool. I love that, and it's just a matter of, as long as we don't. Like, where's that line of how much is too much time spent?
That's it.
And I think, you found it.
When I went there, I said 3 to 5 years. Because I regretted leaving Japan after a year.
Really?
I would like to stay. I had to recontract 6 months in. I was really lonely. I didn't speak any Japanese. It was too
Right.
much. And I said
Yeah,
no. I was
fair.
21.
Oh yeah.
I was
that's
like, no.
young.
And then like 3 months later, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
My Japanese started kicking in. So went to China. I was like, all right, 3 years minimum,
Nice.
5 years maximum. And I'll tell you, man,
Worth it.
It was worth it, but there wasn't. Every so often, I just wanted to head for the hills. Like I had enough money to buy a ticket in my drawer. I had a stack of cash. And I was
Nice.
like, I could just leave right now. I'd have to like hold on, and be like, no, you're gonna stick around 3 years.
Why?
So
Just like lonely or just like
no, honestly, 'cause
too much.
I hated living there, man.
Oh
I
really?
hated it. Oh man,
That
you can't
bad?
breathe.
That
You can't breathe, and everybody's spitting and pooping everywhere, and
really?
it's like just straight up xenophobia. Everyone calling you Lao Wai, Lao.
Oh, I guess I guess you're in
you know?
Beijing.
Oh man, it was so China's hard, man. It's not safe. Like you don't feel safe there. You get really angry all the time because everyone's rude, everyone's pushing, and you have to push.
It's the opposite of Japan.
Yeah,
I see why it's a
absolute
tough
opposite.
comparable.
Absolutely,
That makes
opposite.
sense.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I never thought that because I'm fascinated, and I never used to be. Like I'm fascinated with how like geopoliticals and everything work.
Yeah.
And having gone through, what was cool is have you ever heard of Hardcore History?
No.
With Dan Carlin.
No.
So basically, this it's like he'll do 5-part series that are like 6 hours long each part. So it's just very, very in depth, deep like history podcast. And he talks about kind of like first one is like I think the blueprint for Armageddon, which is talking about how the First World War started. And he's like, so and so is responsible for World War II because they were responsible for World War One. He kind of starts there and explains the whole idea of how the war started and where it was and how everything went. And so he's talking about everything that took place in the Balkans. And my buddy and I, when we were driving through Europe, seeing all these spots in Bosnia and Serbia with like bullet holes and machine gun holes like through everywhere. And you see half of what was blown up and then half of what wasn't. And you see landmine signs, you see these signs and these symbols. You're like, whoa. It's cool to like experience it or experience like the deep aftermath of it, having still like learned as much as you did about it.
Oh yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Take me back. You get to China. You do your 3.5 years. You want to move back. Let's start there. You did your few years. Did you have work that you were ready to go do? You're just like, I'm moving back.
Yeah. So having done the return, like the expat crash land back home is always hard. It's
Right.
really hard. It's scary. I've done it before. So I knew this time I was like, I'm not going back without a plan. Because the worst thing is because you have this life in Asia, you're making money, you're getting respect, and then you go home and you're in your parents' basement and you have no
tough to
job,
come
no
back from.
identity, and you've had this whole life and now you're a kid again. So I was like, all right, I gotta have a plan.
Nice.
And the plan was to be a medic. It came about because I did some guiding stuff, did some wilderness first aid, and was looking for something that was going to be like intellectually challenging but also dynamic. And
Yeah, hands on for
kind
sure.
of fell in. And to be honest, I wasn't going to come back. I was just coming back to like be a medic, get the cert, get a little experience, and then go back overseas.
But not to China, probably.
Yeah, go somewhere else. I didn't want to teach anymore, so I thought,
Right.
okay, I'll get some EMS experience, and I'll be able to be like a guide, on-site medical, whatever. And
That'd be cool.
but then I ended up having a family, and being a medic was pretty cool. So I was like, all right, I can live here and do this.
Nice.
So yeah.
Right on. So that was coming back to Halifax.
No, I came back to Ontario. I kind of let go of Halifax 'cause I didn't have any, like getting there would have been a whole other level. I didn't have anywhere to stay anymore. I didn't really have the connections I didn't have.
Yeah.
So I stayed with my parents till I got into school and got my OSAP and then moved out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, paramedicine,
Yeah.
right? You have your advanced care
Yep.
as well. Yeah, of course, dude. Nice. Hell yeah.
was
Let's
fun.
go.
It was fun.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Take me through your most memorable shift as a paramedic.
Oh, memorable.
Yeah, and how soon into the career did this happen? Also,
Well, you know what? I'll tell. I could tell you the call that got me, and that probably didn't did me some good, but also kind of set me up for a long-term failure. So give us some back. We're getting real here.
Let's go.
So one of the things that defined me in the last 10 years is that partway through paramedic school,
Yep.
Shortly after I started, we were pregnant with my first child, and her name was Satori, and she was born on June 12th, 2014, and she died on June 13th, 2014. So she was term baby, everything good, but complications that were very badly managed by the care team, essentially medical negligence, and she was born
Come on.
incompatible with life, let's put it that way. So we just kind of let her go. So I was very, we could talk about that, but I was very, very distressed. But I also went back to school because I was like, I lost a lot. I need to keep going. I need to, my wife was devastated. I just needed to finish school so we could have some money and start building our life.
Yeah.
But I was very, very troubled at the time, right? So it was hard for me to be doing the job, doing the studies I was doing. But I was on rideouts, and this was the call that really made me a medic. We went for I think she was a 15-month-old girl in status seizure. So that means she's seizing so continuously that she can't breathe. Got there, she was breathing but not adequately. We ended up treating her with midazolam to break the seizure, and it did. But then she went apneic on route. She stopped breathing. So I've got this. I'm this guy who's 7-8 months away from having lost his own kid, and now I've got this kid who's dying in front of me, not breathing. Her heart rate was 200 something. She was pre-arrest, and I tell my preceptor she's not breathing. He goes, get the BVM, the bag valve mask ventilator. So I get it, and I've got hands like this.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's this whole bag, and you have to put it together. It's a kit, so it's not just you have to put these things together when your hands are going like this. So I'm there and just fumbling. And my preceptor goes, I don't need you fast. What was it? I don't need you fast. I need you calm. And Perfect. It was something I found that switch to go, and I was cold, and I did it and ventilated her and kept her alive all the way to the hospital. And afterwards, he was he's very impressed with, I didn't know I could do that too. I just shut her down. Anyway, I get this girl to the hospital. She's alive. I hand her off to care.
Yeah.
And I see her dad at the bedside. And I see the look in his eyes. And I see the tears. But I see the relief.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I just lost a kid. And I just saved his kid. So I was able to spare that man from what I had known. I was able to do what my care team wasn't able to, and that was it. I was just all right, whatever the hell is going on with this job, this was the best I'd felt since losing my kid. I was just I'm just going to keep doing this, and I'm going to do the best I can. And yeah, that was kind of, in some ways it was great, but it to take that on in the job is a big mistake. But it was what I did at the time. It was my coping mechanism. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I really like that. That's that takes a lot. You don't know you can do it until you're in this, and it's tough to recreate those.
Yeah.
Right? You can't. You can train all you want, but then
it's.
And then I guess at that point the training takes over. It's how good was your training? How focused was it?
What we do as medics is very simple. It's all very, very simple.
Keep alive till you get to the hospital?
I mean, just physically, take this thing, put it there, squeeze it. But it's all of the awareness and the ability to stay aware and not get tunnel vision and control your emotions and find that little switch inside where everything goes and just
the present,
and do that. That's what was fun about it. There's nothing else in life I mean, there's other jobs too, that you can do that, but there's not many opportunities in life just to be in that space. So, yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have, you actually told me about this.
Yeah.
Sort of. Well, you told me to tell you about it, which was, you said, you messaged me about, I don't know if you said favorite call or most memorable call.
Yeah.
I want to hear about this.
Yeah, that one,
Yeah, let's.
Little light.
Yeah, I'll let you shed some light on this one and
Yeah,
share.
well, because you asked, we went down to the open, right?
Yep.
And then you were asking, and like I always, it's always hard because you're like, oh man, I don't want to tell anything really fucked up, and like what I just told you now. I didn't want to tell you that.
No, that's perfect.
And then, but the one, yeah. So the call that I realized after was like, oh man, I should have told him that one because it's good. It gives you an image, but it's a little bit light. Was so we get called for, I don't even know what the heck, somebody in distress. So we get into this apartment, and this woman, late 30s, early 40s, is naked. And from the looks of it, and she's laying in the middle of her apartment on this tile floor, covered in poop. And like the poop's all over the floor, the poop's all over her, and it's very clear that she's just been, and she's rolling in it.
Bruh.
She's rolling in it, and she's completely delirious.
What's going on?
And she's rolling around. And I think we spent the first like 20 minutes just trying to get her out of the poop because like she was covered in it and she was delirious. So when I try and approach her and say, "Hey, can you roll over?" She'd reach for me. No, don't touch me. Don't touch me. You're covered in poop. Don't touch me.
It's disgusting.
And so we managed. I forget what we did. We kind of threw blankets over and. But yeah, man, it's so hard when everything's covered in poop. Like you don't want to get covered in poop. You don't want to get poop on you. You get in your eyes. You're like, oh.
There's so many things. You don't know what.
That's it, right? And we had Tyvek suits on and everything, and I think we were there for like an hour and a half. Just the process of, because she's covered in poop and she has no idea what's going on. So it's the process of getting her wrapped up and out of there without getting ourselves completely covered in the stuff.
Was she on some of those
No. I think something went wrong with her kidneys or her liver, and she'd been going into some kind of delirium. Like I don't think it was a drug. It seemed like she'd been there for 2 or 3 days in that state. So, but yeah, and then we took a little bit of time off to go change because we stank of poop.
Yeah, it's
when
gross.
There's that much poop, it doesn't matter.
Gross.
It's on you.
Man, jeez, dude. Yeah. So you've been in Sudbury for. How many years before you decided to, like, what was it? You ran for Nickelbelt MP?
Yeah. So I ran.
Why was that decision made?
It wasn't a decision, man. It was just kind of. I literally just like stumbled into it.
Nice.
So it was the pandemic, and I was a little bit concerned about some of the stuff that was going on, and I like firearms, so I was a little unhappy with the. Some of the and the way the legislation was being done, and if you understand the reality of firearms and gun violence and stuff, you understand the real problem's hard to deal with and costs money. So you just kind of outlaw some guns, and then people who don't know any better think that something's been done, but nothing's really been done.
Right.
So I to be honest, and like I was kind of getting done with paramedicine, so I wanted to find something new, so I just reached out. I was like, you know what? If I'm not happy with things, like I'll just go join a party and just get involved and learn what it's about. So I'm okay. So I'm not happy with the current government. I'll go call the Conservatives. Okay, so I called them up and said, hey, like I'd like to volunteer, find out what you guys are about. They said, do you want to do finance? I said, I don't really have a finance background. So I told them my background. They said, you want to be our candidate? I was like, well, what do you say, right?
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, so I ran
the car.
That was it.
Let's
I was
go.
just like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I gave it my go, and yeah, it was fun, but it's, this new opportunity came along, and the two aren't compatible, and
right.
So, yeah, move on.
What's your, what was the decision to run, not to run, sorry, but getting out of politics, getting out of paramedicine, and now you're like, I'm moving.
Yeah.
What, because you built a home now.
Yeah.
Sudbury and stuff, you have that community that you notice the cultures have that we lack here. So why are you moving?
Well, to be honest, we've been talking about moving since shortly after we got here. Like we just kind of ended up here because I had a baby coming, got a job. So we were always kind of, and that's my wife and I were both kind of, we like to travel, we like adventure.
Yeah.
This is the longest I've lived in any one place. Almost ever.
Yeah.
Like maybe I spent as much time in Oakville, but this is the long. But yeah, we I think what it is that it was like we came up here to Medic. We had a community there for a while, and then it kind of fell apart. I think a lot of people ended up off with PTSD. People moved away. our community kind of and it was the pandemic was a lot of it. Like
Yeah.
everything
Tough
kind of
time.
fell apart, and then during the pandemic, everything got a lot harder for medics, and it was the kind of the cinder block that broke the camel's back for me. Like I'd been having a bit of a hard time before the pandemic, and it started getting some care, and it had worked out. It like stabilized me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm good. And then the pandemic came, and it just kind of like
Ramped up.
wore me down. Like I
Pushed you over.
I felt like I was going down and coming back up and going down and coming back up, but I was never able to like, and I was just going down, 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 down until finally it was like, all right,
Got too far.
we got to do something. Yeah, I think it's been just one of those things where things kind of carried on in their own pace, and I was here to be a medic, and that came to an end, and then my wife was finishing school, and this opportunity came up, and I knew the problem is that I'm qualified to be a medic, or I'm qualified to go work for the federal government. That's kind of like those are my options in life, really. So
Yeah.
I got the federal government job, and
Let's
it was
go.
I mean it's been almost a year that we've been talking with them about jobs, and it was going to be Ottawa, and Ottawa's all right, but I didn't really want to be in Ottawa. So
Yeah, I've lived there once in my life. Now I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah.
When I lived there, it was great. It was like right before everything kind of started to
Yeah.
become a little aggressively like, identities and being an issue and stuff
Yeah.
that I'm just
Yeah.
prefer to not interact with at all.
For sure.
If I can avoid it, I will.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the job came, and I've always wanted to live in Halifax long term. So
Nice.
I was actually conditioned. I said, "Can I work in Halifax?" I said, "Yeah." All right, you got me.
No
So,
way.
yeah.
Nice. Wife got a job out there.
No,
Easy.
no. I mean,
no,
she's
you
just
can't.
finishing teachers college.
Right, so when
it'll be.
she's-
They have a shortage. It won't be a problem.
Yeah.
So
Right on. They just reach out to school boards over there is kind of the idea. And
Yeah.
Nice.
get her
Too bad.
certified, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, kind of to what I want to do, to wrap up,
Yeah, man.
what I think would be a good thing to do. I've been doing this thing lately, and I want to try it.
Yeah.
So, it's called 3 books, 2 people.
Okay.
One, I guess, maybe final lesson or message to leave people with.
3
And
books,
then
2 people.
conclude
one
on
lesson.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
The first book will be the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu.
The what?
Tao Te Ching.
Tao Te Ching. Okay.
Tao Te Ching.
Tao Te Ching. Okay.
By Lao Tzu. That's I've read. I used to carry on that book forever. Like
Yeah.
that's like basic. Yeah, that's basic wisdom. Widen the Window by Elizabeth Edwards, or no, Elizabeth Stanley. She's a former U.S. intelligence officer. Terrible PTSD, PhD from Harvard, I think, and a somatic psychotherapist, and wrote what I consider to be the Bible on resilience and
Really?
PTSD and
Smart one.
yeah, very, and like one of those. The thing is with that stuff, that whole PTSD resilience thing,
Crazy.
you got to have people who have the academic training to understand the science, but also have that frontline experience. Because if you don't have the
Huge.
experience, like you'll never really get it. If you haven't lived in it, you'll never get it.
Right.
And that's like, yeah, great book. And then number 3, jeez, where to begin? Tao Te Ching. Oh, The Importance of Living by Lin Yutang. You ever heard of that one?
No.
He was a Chinese. He was a Chinese Christian. But
It
then he
sounds
ended up
familiar. Like I
becoming,
was like,
very into his culture. Like was raised out of his culture, then got back into it. But just this
Chinese Christian.
yeah, he was like, which there's more than you'd think.
Yeah.
And he wrote this great book, and it's just like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like he does this chapter about how he tried quitting smoking, and smoking is great because when you're angry, your wife can just stick your pipe in your mouth, and suddenly you feel better because nobody's angry with a pipe in his mouth. And he said, one time I tried quitting smoking, and I was a jerk to everybody, and I vowed I would never be so weak-willed as to try quitting smoking again. Like, he's got a chapter on how to drink, like when you should drink to have a good time with friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of just down-to-earth, like, yeah. 2 people to meet, or 2 people to follow, or what?
No, 2 people that have had like let's call it not like an impact on you, or 2
Yeah.
people that you want to shout out, I guess.
Yeah, number 1 would be Greg DeMarchi, the late Greg DeMarchi. He was a family friend and mentor that died in 2018. This guy I measure myself against him and will for the rest of my life. He was an absolute titan of a human being.
Nice.
This guy when he was 19, decided he wanted to be a monk. But didn't know any Buddhist monasteries, so he showed up at a Trappist monastery, like a Catholic one, sat down and said, I want to be a monk. And they're like, okay, that's not how it works. Like, do you believe in God? He's like, nope, don't care, want to be a monk. And they just took him in and tried to get rid of him and couldn't. So the guy became a monk. They told him to go train as a doctor, became a doctor. He got kicked out of the church because he was like a very down-to-earth guy. He'd have young couples come and be like, we're not sure if we get married. He'd be like, well, try living together, see how it goes. Catholic priest, right? So got kicked out of the church, ended up married, becoming a surgeon. The guy, like, I won't go through his whole life story, but basically the guy had 2 knighthoods. He was a professor from Oxford, one of the first laparoscopic surgeons in Canada, a 6th dan in Takeda Jiu-Jitsu, a 3rd dan in Kodokan Judo, a 2nd dan in Iaido, had a boxing career, rode motorbikes, had when he retired, he went and did his master's in biblical languages, and like was friends with like Paul Hellyer, the former defense minister. Would go on about aliens, like did work for NASA and had his files stolen, like because they sent him an EEG tracing that wasn't human. And this guy was just like such a wonderful man, like just a lovely down to earth. Stepped into my life a bunch of times when I was having a hard time, and like was just kind of like a mentor, godfather type. But yeah, super cool guy, Greg DeMarchi.
That's awesome.
And then the other person, Alan Watts. Alan Watts is you know Alan Watts?
It sounds familiar. Like it does sound familiar.
British philosopher. He did
that might be why. Yeah.
The 50s, 60s, 70s. Really amazing guy. Combined Buddhism with Christianity and psychology, and would just dance all over the place. Like just was able to tie everything together, but not anywhere he was like giving a doctrine, but more like, hey, look over here, and we put this together over there, and hey, isn't that neat? Like very like loose and free. And then one takeaway. Ooh.
Final kind of message for people. Takeaway thing to learn from what we've kind of talked about that you'd like maybe pass down. You could have more than one too if you want.
All right. We're all gonna die, so what the fuck are you afraid of? Like straight up, right? Like, it doesn't end well for anyone, so why the fuck would we ever be afraid of anything? Yeah. Like just, like, yeah, and it's like, it sounds trite, but like when you really get into it, like when you've seen bad things happen to people and you've had bad things happen to you, you go, shit, like, when that reality of any moment could be the end, and not just the end, but like awful, heinous, terrible, traumatizing shit could come along your way, like, fuck. Like just like get up, like that's our morning class. Like you wake up every morning, hey, you know what? Yeah, getting up at 4:30 sucks, but you know what? At least you're able to get up at 4:30. Like let's get her done, because tomorrow, like,
fucking privilege, man.
Maybe not. So like let's get her done.
Yeah.
Sounds cliche, but
what are you afraid of? You're gonna die soon.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah.
So.
Fucking right.
I like that. Yeah. I like how that sits.
Yeah.
Right on, dude. I'm fired up. You were able to come chat with me today.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Yeah, I wanted to hear more. I wanted to hear a lot about the trips. I wanted to hear like kind of the difference between cultures. It's tough to do on like the car ride, so I was like, I'm glad you were able to come today. And brother, I wish you nothing but the best in the future and what it holds. And I look forward to kind of seeing how it all works out for you.
Thanks, man.
So appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.